It was an ordinary evening, the kind where the sun had just started to dip below the horizon and the sky turned a soft shade of orange, making the city streets glow with a warm light. The man was walking home from work, his briefcase in one hand and his thoughts scattered about the day. His job was routine, not too stressful, but it had a rhythm that sometimes made life feel predictable. He liked this routine, the comfort in knowing what to expect, but today something different would happen. He noticed her almost immediately, standing at the edge of the busy intersection. She looked small in the crowd, a bit out of place. Her eyes darted around and her hands fidgeted with the strap of her bag. There was a tension in her shoulders, a quiet panic that made her stand out even amidst the movement of the city. People brushed past her without noticing, each lost in their own worlds, but the man couldn't just walk by. Something inside him nudged, telling him to go over and see if she was okay. He hesitated for a moment, as most people might when faced with a stranger in distress, but then he reminded himself that sometimes a small action could mean a lot. He took a deep breath and approached her, careful not to startle her. "Excuse me, are you okay?" he asked gently. She looked up, her eyes wide, a mixture of relief and embarrassment crossing her face. I'm not sure. I think I'm lost," she admitted, her voice soft and a little shaky. She held out her phone, showing a map she had tried to follow, but the lines and pins made no sense to her in her current state of confusion. He smiled reassuringly. "That's okay. Don't worry, I can help you. Where are you trying to go?" She hesitated for a moment before answering. "I'm trying to get to my hotel. I missed my train and now I don't know how to get there." He nodded. He could see the worry etched on her face, the frustration in her furrowed brow. It wasn't just the city that had overwhelmed her. It was the feeling of being alone and unsure. He offered a calm, steady presence which seemed to comfort her a little. "Don't worry. I'll help you get there. Let's start by walking together. We'll figure this out." As they started moving, the streets of the city felt different. The rush of cars and the chatter of passers-by faded into the background as he focused on guiding her. She stumbled slightly over the uneven pavement and he instinctively reached out to steady her. She caught his hand briefly, a small gesture that spoke volumes about trust forming in a few short moments. They walked through streets that he had known all his life, but now they seemed new through her eyes. She asked questions about the area, pointing out small shops and cafes, curious and tentative. He answered patiently, sharing what he knew without overwhelming her. He could sense her nervousness, her fear of being alone in a city that suddenly seemed so vast and impersonal. "I've never been to this city alone before," she said after a while, her voice quieter now, more reflective. "It feels bigger than I imagined," he smiled. "It does feel that way at first. But once you get your bearings, it's not so bad. Sometimes it just takes someone to help you find the first step." There was a pause as they crossed another busy street, waiting for the light. She looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and gratitude. "Thank you," she said simply. It wasn't dramatic. No grand gestures, just a quiet acknowledgement of the help he was offering. Yet to him it felt significant. The city was alive around them, neon lights flickering on as night began to settle in. The scent of food from street vendors mixed with the faint aroma of rain from earlier in the day. He noticed how tense she had been when they first met, and how slowly as they walked and talked her shoulders were beginning to relax. He felt a strange sense of connection, even though they had just met. As they turned a corner, she laughed softly at a small mishap with her bag strap catching on a fence. It was a light, genuine laugh that made him smile. "See, things aren't so bad," he said. She nodded and he could tell she believed him, at least a little. They stopped at a small coffee shop when he noticed she looked tired. He suggested a short break and she agreed. They ordered drinks and sat at a corner table, where the hum of conversation around them felt comforting rather than overwhelming. Over the next few minutes, they shared small pieces of their lives. She spoke about her work, her recent travels, and how overwhelming it had been to navigate the city alone. He spoke about his routine, his family, and the simple pleasures he enjoyed. It was remarkable how easy it felt to talk to her. There was no pretense, no need to impress, just conversation between two people, each feeling a little more understood. He noticed how animated she became when she spoke about her interests, how her eyes lit up with passion. It made him realize that sometimes people's true selves shine brightest when they are in need of kindness and understanding. After their coffee, they resumed their journey. The streets were darker now, and the city lights reflected off wet pavement, giving everything a shimmering, almost magical quality. He felt a sense of responsibility for her, but also a growing curiosity about her, a desire to know more. She walked beside him with more confidence now, trusting his guidance and reassured by his steady presence. Along the way, she shared moments of vulnerability. She spoke about feeling lonely in a city where everyone seemed to know where they were going, and how it had been a challenge for her to ask for help in unfamiliar places. He listened carefully, offering understanding rather than advice, letting her feel heard. There was a quiet power in just being there for someone without judgment. At one point, they encountered a tricky intersection where multiple streets converged, and the traffic lights were confusing. She froze, uncertainty flashing across her face. He gently took her hand and led her across, making sure she felt safe and supported. The small touch lingered just a moment longer than necessary, a silent communication of reassurance. Finally, they arrived near her hotel. She looked at the building with relief, a soft sigh escaping her lips. "I don't know what I would have done without you," she admitted. There was no exaggeration in her words, just heartfelt gratitude. He smiled. "I'm glad I could help. That's all that matters." Before parting ways, he felt a strange reluctance to let her go, even though they had just met. There was something about the connection they had formed in such a short time that felt important. She noticed it too, giving a small smile that seemed to convey more than words could. As he watched her enter the hotel, he realized that this chance encounter had shifted something inside him. Helping her had not only guided her safely, but had also made him feel more alive, more aware of the possibility of connection and care in the world. He walked back home with a lighter step, thinking about how life sometimes presents moments that seem small but have the power to change perspectives. That evening, he reflected on the randomness of it all. A lost woman, a busy city, and a simple decision to help. These had converged to create a moment neither of them would forget. He felt a sense of hope, a quiet anticipation for what might come next, though he didn't yet know it would lead to something even more extraordinary. The night settled around him, calm and full of possibilities, and he felt grateful for taking that small step toward kindness, not knowing that it was the first step toward discovering something he had never expected, a deep and unexpected connection with another human being. The next day arrived quietly, the morning light spilling softly through the curtains, promising another ordinary day. The man went through his routine, preparing breakfast, reading the news, and getting ready for work. But a small part of his mind kept drifting back to the previous evening. The memory of the woman, her grateful smile, and the strange warmth he had felt lingered in his thoughts. It was surprising how meeting someone for such a brief moment could leave such a strong impression. Meanwhile, the woman woke up in her hotel room feeling a mixture of relief and curiosity. Her thoughts returned again and again to the man who had helped her, the calm reassurance he had shown, and the small acts of kindness that had made a stressful situation feel safe and manageable. She realized that in a city full of strangers, his presence had been a rare comfort, and it made her wonder about him, what kind of person he was, and whether she would ever see him again. They did not plan to meet, yet their minds seemed to search for the memory of the encounter. Later that morning, the woman sent a simple message of thanks. She was careful, not wanting to seem forward, just sincere in her gratitude. The message was short. "Thank you for helping me yesterday. I don't know what I would have done without you." He read her message at his desk during a quiet moment at work. A small smile appeared on his face. He felt a surprising warmth reading her words, a sense of connection that was unexpected. He responded gently, making sure his words were kind but not overwhelming. "I'm glad I could help. I hope your day is going well." It was a simple exchange, yet it marked the beginning of something that neither of them had anticipated. Over the next few days, their communication became more frequent. They exchanged short messages about their daily routines, small things that mattered to them, and little observations about the city. There was a growing comfort in these conversations. They both realized how easy it felt to talk to someone who listened without judgment, who seemed genuinely interested in understanding them. One evening, the man suggested meeting for coffee. He wanted to see her again, to continue the conversation that had started so naturally on the street. She agreed, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. It had been a few days since the encounter, but the connection they had formed lingered, making her curious and eager to spend more time with him. The coffee shop was cozy, warm, and bustling with life. When she arrived, he stood up to greet her, and they shared a friendly smile that spoke of familiarity and comfort. They found a quiet corner, away from the noise, and settled in. The conversation started easily, flowing without effort. They talked about their interests, their favorite books and movies, and small stories from their pasts. There was laughter, small gestures of amusement, and moments of quiet reflection. He noticed how her eyes lit up when she spoke about things she loved. There was a natural passion in her words, a sense of curiosity and wonder that made him pay closer attention. She noticed his thoughtful demeanor, the way he listened, and how he seemed genuinely interested in her perspective. The ease of their conversation surprised both of them. It was rare to meet someone who could be a stranger one day and a companion the next. As the afternoon passed, they decided to take a walk in the nearby park. The sun had dipped low, casting long shadows and golden light across the paths. They walked side by side, noticing the small things around them. The sound of leaves rustling in the wind, children playing at a distance, the scent of flowers lingering in the air. The world felt quieter and slower when they were together, as if their connection created a bubble where only the two of them existed. During their walk, she shared more about her life, her dreams, and the challenges she faced. He listened carefully, offering encouragement and understanding without trying to fix or judge. There was a gentle balance between them, a sense of equality that made her feel safe and valued. In turn, he found himself opening up more than he usually did. He spoke about his own fears, his hopes, and the moments in life that had shaped him. It was a rare vulnerability, but being with her felt natural and effortless. They stopped by a small fountain, and she watched the water cascade with a thoughtful expression. "It's strange," she said softly. "I felt so lost a few days ago, and now talking to you, it feels like I'm finding something I didn't even know I was looking for." He looked at her and smiled gently. "Sometimes that's how life works. You meet someone in a moment you least expect, and they help you see things differently, even if it's just a little." As the evening wore on, they found themselves reluctant to part ways. There was a quiet understanding between them that this connection was rare and worth exploring. They promised to meet again, not out of obligation but because it felt natural, as if they were drawn to each other by something intangible. Over the next few weeks, they continued to spend time together. They explored parts of the city, shared meals, and discovered small joys in each other's company. There were moments of laughter over trivial things, debates over preferences, and gentle teasing that deepened their bond. Each encounter left them feeling more connected, more aware of the unique understanding they had found in each other. They also began to support each other in subtle ways. He would check in on her when she had a stressful day, offering words of encouragement and a listening ear. She in turn celebrated his small victories and offered comfort during his moments of doubt. Their relationship was built on kindness, empathy, and genuine interest in each other's well-being. It was not rushed, not dramatic, but steady and reassuring, a slow unfolding of trust and care. One afternoon, they attended a small art exhibition together. As they walked through the gallery, they discussed the pieces, their interpretations, and the emotions they evoked. She admired his thoughtful observations, how he noticed details others might miss. He appreciated her perspective, how she could see the beauty and meaning in things that seemed ordinary at first glance. The experience brought them closer, revealing more layers of understanding and connection. There were also quiet moments, sitting together in cafes or on park benches, where words were not needed. Just being in each other's presence was enough. These moments were intimate in their simplicity, a testament to the comfort and trust that had grown between them. Through these shared experiences, they began to realize that their connection was more than coincidence. The man reflected on how helping her when she was lost had led to discovering someone who resonated with him on a deep level. She thought about how a random act of kindness had introduced her to someone who made her feel seen and valued. It was a slow unfolding realization that the bond they shared was meaningful and rare. The part of their lives that had seemed ordinary before now felt enriched by each other's presence. They laughed more, shared more openly, and found joy in the simple act of being together. The city, once overwhelming and impersonal, became a place of shared memories and discoveries, each corner holding a moment they had experienced together. By the end of part 2, both felt a quiet certainty. This connection was real, something worth nurturing, and it had emerged from a moment of genuine kindness and human understanding. Neither had anticipated it, yet both cherished it, feeling that something precious had begun, a bond that promised growth, support, and perhaps the love they had never imagined finding. Days turned into weeks, and the connection between the man and the woman continued to grow. It was no longer just about their first meeting or the gratitude they had felt toward each other. It had become something deeper, something that neither of them could ignore. They found themselves thinking about each other at unexpected times, smiling at the memory of shared moments, and feeling a warmth that had not existed in their lives before. One rainy afternoon, the woman was caught off guard by a sudden downpour while running errands. She had no umbrella and was soaked within minutes. Feeling helpless, she remembered the man and, on a whim, sent him a quick message. He responded almost immediately, asking where she was and telling her to wait at a nearby cafe. Within minutes, he arrived with his umbrella, a reassuring smile on his face. The small gesture meant more than just keeping her dry. It was a reminder that someone genuinely cared. They laughed as she explained her clumsiness and how the city seemed determined to test her patience. He listened patiently, offering a warm cup of coffee and a comfortable chair. They talked for hours, not just about trivial things, but about the deeper aspects of their lives, their fears, their dreams, and the moments that had shaped them. It was these conversations that built the foundation of trust between them, a trust that went beyond casual friendship. During one of their walks in the city, the woman noticed a street performer playing a soft, melancholic tune on a violin. She stopped to listen, captivated by the emotion in the music. The man watched her quietly, noticing the way her eyes followed the bow across the strings, the small smile that played on her lips. He realized that these small moments, these glimpses into each other's inner world, were what made their connection so unique. It was not just about shared time. It was about truly seeing each other. As their time together increased, they started exploring more than just the city. They visited museums, parks, and little hidden cafes that were tucked away in narrow streets. Each new experience brought them closer, allowing them to see the world through each other's eyes. She introduced him to her favorite books and movies, and he shared his favorite places in the city, creating memories that were theirs alone. One evening, they attended a small local festival. The streets were alive with music, laughter, and colorful lights. They wandered through the crowd, trying different foods and enjoying the festive atmosphere. The woman felt a sense of freedom and joy she hadn't experienced in a long time. The man felt a deep contentment, a happiness that came not from the festival itself but from being with her. They took countless small photographs, capturing moments that would later become treasured memories. Their relationship continued to develop naturally, without pressure or expectation. There were times of deep conversation and reflection, balanced with times of laughter and lightheartedness. They discovered that they complemented each other in ways that were subtle but significant. Her curiosity and openness encouraged him to explore his own feelings more openly, while his calm and steady presence provided her with a sense of stability and comfort. One afternoon, they found themselves sitting by a quiet riverbank. The water moved slowly, reflecting the soft light of the sun. She rested her head on his shoulder, feeling safe and understood in a way she had rarely felt before. He wrapped an arm around her, feeling a surge of affection and protectiveness. It was a simple moment, but it carried a depth of emotion that neither of them could put into words. They realized that their bond had grown into something more than friendship, something that was built on genuine care and understanding. He often found himself reflecting on the journey that had led them to this point. It began with a simple act of helping someone in need, yet it had evolved into a meaningful relationship. He realized that kindness and empathy were powerful forces, capable of changing lives in unexpected ways. Helping her had not only guided her safely, but had also opened his heart to feelings he had not acknowledged before. The woman, too, recognized the impact of their growing connection. She had once felt lost and alone in a city that seemed indifferent to her presence. Now she felt supported, valued, and seen. The small acts of care, the shared laughter, and the deep conversations had created a bond that was both comforting and exhilarating. She found herself looking forward to their meetings, cherishing the moments they spent together, and thinking about the possibilities that the future might hold. One evening, while watching the sunset from a quiet hill overlooking the city, She spoke about her fears and hopes. She admitted that she had been wary of opening her heart to anyone, afraid of being hurt or disappointed. He listened attentively, holding her hand gently, assuring her that he understood and that he was there to support her. The honesty in their conversation strengthened their bond, creating a sense of intimacy and trust that was rare and precious. As part 3 of their story unfolded, it became clear that their relationship was no longer defined by chance encounters or fleeting moments. It had grown into a steady, evolving connection built on kindness, empathy, and shared experiences. The man and the woman had discovered that true connection often arises from simple acts of care and understanding, and that love can grow naturally when two people are willing to see and support each other. They continued to navigate the complexities of their lives while cherishing the moments they shared. Each day brought new experiences, new opportunities to understand each other more deeply, and new reasons to appreciate the bond they had formed. Their relationship was a reminder that love does not always appear in grand gestures or dramatic events. Sometimes it emerges quietly, through acts of kindness, shared moments, and the willingness to be present for someone else. By the end of this part of their journey, both of them recognized that they had found something rare and valuable. It was not just about attraction or fleeting interest. It was about a deep understanding and care for each other's well-being. They had discovered that the simplest actions, offering help, listening, being present, could lead to profound emotional connections. Their story was a testament to the power of human kindness and the unexpected ways it can lead to love and companionship. Part 3 closed with the realization that their relationship had evolved beyond the initial encounter. They had grown together, shared vulnerabilities, and created memories that would shape their future. The connection they had discovered was a guiding force, a reminder that love often appears in unexpected ways, and that acts of empathy and care can open doors to emotions and relationships that were previously unimagined. Time passed quietly, and the man and woman continued to spend more moments together, their bond growing stronger with each shared experience. What began as a chance meeting had transformed into something meaningful, a connection that neither of them had anticipated, but now cherished deeply. They had moved beyond the initial excitement of meeting, and were discovering the quiet joys of understanding, supporting and caring for each other. One morning, the woman invited him to join her at a small art studio, where she had enrolled in a painting class. She wanted to share something personal, a hobby that had always been a part of her life but one she rarely shared with anyone else. He agreed, feeling honored that she wanted him there. When they arrived, the studio was filled with the smell of paints, the soft scratching of brushes on canvas, and the quiet hum of creativity. He watched as she carefully mixed colors, her movements precise yet fluid, her expression concentrated yet serene. He found himself enjoying the process too. At first he felt awkward holding the brush, unsure of how to translate his thoughts onto the canvas. She noticed and encouraged him gently, offering small tips and guidance. They laughed together at their mistakes, finding humor in the imperfect shapes and colors that emerged. It was a moment of pure connection, a shared experience that allowed them to see each other in a new light. Through creativity, they discovered more about each other's personalities, the patience, the curiosity, the joy in small achievements. After class, they walked home through the quiet streets, discussing their paintings and the stories behind them. She shared memories from her childhood, times she had spent drawing and painting alone, and the sense of peace it had brought her. He listened with interest, realizing how much these small passions shaped who she was. In turn, he shared stories from his own past, times when he had felt inspired or lost, and how he had navigated challenges. The conversation flowed effortlessly, filled with openness, empathy, and a growing sense of intimacy. As the days went by, they started spending evenings together, cooking meals in each other's company. They experimented with new recipes, tasting each dish and laughing at the ones that didn't turn out quite right. There was a comfort in these moments, a feeling of home that went beyond any physical space. They discovered that happiness could be found in simple acts, like chopping vegetables together, sharing stories over a cup of tea, or listening to music as the city hummed outside the window. One rainy evening, they found themselves sitting by a window, watching raindrops slide down the glass. She rested her head on his shoulder, and he wrapped an arm around her, feeling the quiet warmth between them. They talked about their fears, their hopes for the future, and the dreams they sometimes kept hidden from the world. She admitted that she had always been cautious about trusting people, afraid of being hurt. And he shared how he had often kept his own feelings guarded. Their honesty brought them closer, each revelation deepening their connection. There were also playful moments like visiting a local amusement park on a weekend. They tried different rides, shared cotton candy, and competed in simple games, laughing together as if they were children experiencing joy for the first time. These moments of lightheartedness balanced the deeper, more reflective times they spent together, creating a relationship that felt full and balanced. It was a mix of laughter and tenderness, excitement and calm, a rhythm that suited both of them perfectly. One evening, while walking along a quiet riverside, she mentioned how much their relationship had changed her perspective on life. She spoke about feeling more confident, more hopeful, and more willing to embrace opportunities because of the support and encouragement he had given her. He listened, touched by her words, realizing that the impact of their connection went both ways. He too felt a shift within himself, a newfound openness to trust, to express feelings, and to embrace the unexpected moments that life offered. Their bond also deepened through shared challenges. One day she faced a difficult situation at work that left her stressed and overwhelmed. He was there to listen, offering support without judgment, helping her navigate the emotions she was experiencing. Later, when he faced a personal setback, she offered encouragement and understanding, reminding him that setbacks were part of life and that he did not have to face them alone. These moments reinforced the foundation of trust and reliability that had become central to their relationship. They discovered new places together, exploring quiet corners of the city that neither had noticed before. A small bookstore tucked away in a narrow alley became a favorite spot, where they would spend hours browsing, sharing favorite authors and recommending books to each other. The small details, the way she would laugh at a witty line in a book, the way he would pause thoughtfully before commenting, became memories they cherished. These experiences strengthened their bond, showing them that life's beauty often lies in simple, shared moments. One evening, sitting on a bench overlooking the city skyline, she admitted that she had never felt a connection like this before. She spoke about the rarity of finding someone who could understand her, support her, and make her feel valued without expectation. He held her hand, feeling a mixture of pride, affection, and awe at the depth of their bond. He realized that this was not just companionship. It was the beginning of love, nurtured slowly and naturally through shared experiences, understanding, and care. They began to notice the small ways they had changed because of each other. She found herself more confident in new situations, more willing to explore the world with curiosity rather than caution. He became more open with his emotions, more willing to take risks, and more attentive to the needs of those around him. Their influence on each other was subtle but profound, shaping not only their relationship but also their personal growth. One quiet evening, after a long day, they cooked dinner together and sat on the floor of the kitchen, leaning against each other and sharing a simple meal. The room was filled with warmth, the soft light creating a cozy atmosphere. They talked about their future, not in grand, overwhelming terms, but in small, meaningful ways. Places they wanted to visit, activities they wanted to try, and the life they wanted to build together. It was a conversation filled with hope, respect, and a sense of partnership. Through all these moments, the man reflected on the journey that had brought them together. It had started with a simple act of helping someone lost, a decision to offer guidance and kindness. He realized that this small gesture had led to discovering a connection that went beyond friendship, a relationship built on trust, understanding, and love. The experience had shown him that love often appears in unexpected ways and that being open to others could lead to profound fulfillment. The woman, too, recognized the impact of their relationship. She had entered the city feeling uncertain, overwhelmed, and alone. Through their time together, she had found a sense of belonging, support, and emotional security. The small acts of care, the shared laughter, the quiet understanding, all of these had shaped a bond that was both deep and enduring. She realized that sometimes love is not about grand gestures, but about the consistent presence of someone who sees and values you. As part 4 came to a close, both of them understood that their connection had matured into something meaningful and lasting. The relationship they had nurtured through small moments, empathy, and genuine care had created a foundation for trust, respect, and love. They were no longer just two people brought together by chance. They were companions, partners in life, and a source of strength and joy for each other. The story had evolved from a simple encounter into a profound journey of emotional connection, personal growth, and the discovery of love in its most natural and human form. The days grew warmer as spring slowly gave way to summer, and the man and woman continued to spend more time together, their connection deepening with each passing moment. What had started as a chance encounter on a busy street had blossomed into a meaningful and lasting relationship, one that neither had expected, but both now cherished deeply. They had shared laughter, tears, adventures, and quiet moments, creating a bond that had become an essential part of their lives. One morning, they decided to take a weekend trip to the countryside, a chance to escape the city and enjoy nature. The journey was filled with excitement and anticipation. As they drove through winding roads surrounded by greenery, they talked about everything and nothing at the same time. The woman laughed as she recounted stories from her childhood, and he shared anecdotes from his own life that he had never told anyone before. The conversation flowed easily as it always had, revealing the comfort and trust that had grown between them. Arriving at a small, charming village, they explored the area hand in hand. They wandered through fields of wildflowers, listened to the birds singing, and watched the sunlight dance on the surface of a calm river. It was a peaceful and serene environment, a stark contrast to the busy city streets where they had first met. Here they felt free to be themselves, to enjoy the simplicity of the moment, and to appreciate the quiet beauty of life together. During their walk, they stumbled upon a small, rustic cafe tucked away in a corner. They decided to stop for a cup of tea, sitting outside on a wooden bench as the sun warmed their faces. They talked about their future, imagining the life they could build together. She admitted that she had never imagined finding someone who truly understood her, someone who could make her feel safe, valued, and loved. He listened, holding her hand gently, assuring her that he felt the same way and that their connection was something he would always cherish. The afternoon was filled with small adventures, picking wildflowers, trying local delicacies, and taking photographs to capture their memories. They laughed at their clumsiness, celebrated small victories, and enjoyed the simple pleasures of being together. Each moment added another layer to their bond, reinforcing the trust, care, and affection that had grown naturally over time. As the sun began to set, they found a quiet hill overlooking the village. They sat together, watching the sky change colors, the clouds glowing with shades of pink, orange, and purple. She rested her head on his shoulder, and he wrapped his arm around her, feeling the warmth and closeness they had developed. In that moment, words were not needed. The silence spoke volumes, conveying the depth of their feelings and the strength of their connection. They returned to their small cottage as night fell, the world outside quiet and still. Inside, they cooked dinner together, their movements synchronized as if they had done it 1,000 times before. The kitchen was filled with the aroma of food, laughter, and conversation. After dinner, they sat by the fireplace, sipping tea and reflecting on their journey together. They spoke about the first time they had met, the chance encounter that had set everything in motion, and the ways their lives had changed since that day. She admitted that she had never expected to find love in such an unexpected way. The idea that a simple act of kindness could lead to something so profound amazed her. He smiled, realizing that the same thought had crossed his mind many times. Helping her when she was lost had not only guided her safely, but had also opened his heart to emotions he had not acknowledged before. It was a reminder that life's most meaningful moments often come when least expected. Over the next few days, they continued to explore the countryside, enjoying hikes, picnics, and quiet moments by the river. Each experience brought them closer, revealing more about each other and strengthening the bond they had formed. They supported each other through small challenges, encouraged each other's dreams, and celebrated each other's successes. Their relationship had grown into a partnership built on trust, empathy, and mutual respect. One evening, as they watched the stars twinkle in the clear night sky, they spoke about the future again. She expressed her hope that they could continue to grow together, to face life's challenges as a team, and to cherish the moments that made their bond special. He agreed, feeling a sense of certainty and calm. He realized that he had found something rare and valuable, a connection that went beyond attraction or infatuation. It was a deep, enduring love built on understanding, kindness, and shared experiences. The countryside trip became a turning point in their relationship. They returned to the city with a renewed sense of commitment and appreciation for each other. Their days were filled with work, responsibilities, and daily routines, but the moments they shared continued to be meaningful and fulfilling. They made time for each other, nurturing their bond through simple acts of care, thoughtful gestures, and shared experiences. As the months passed, their relationship continued to flourish. They celebrated birthdays, holidays, and small milestones together, each event an opportunity to strengthen their connection and create lasting memories. They supported each other through challenges, celebrated achievements, and found joy in the ordinary moments that made life beautiful. Their love was steady, reliable, and deeply comforting, a source of strength and happiness for both of them. One quiet evening, while sitting on a park bench watching the city lights reflect on the water, she turned to him and said, "I never imagined that helping someone could lead to finding us." He held her hand, feeling a swell of emotion, and replied, "Neither did I. It's incredible how life works sometimes, isn't it?" They shared a smile, a silent acknowledgement of the journey they had taken together and the love that had grown from a simple act of kindness. In the following weeks, they continued to explore new experiences together, from attending concerts and art exhibitions to taking cooking classes and visiting local markets. Each activity provided opportunities to learn more about each other, to grow closer, and to appreciate the uniqueness of their bond. They discovered that love is not only about grand gestures but also about the consistent presence, understanding, and care that two people offer each other every day. As their relationship matured, they both reflected on how far they had come. The man often thought about the day he had helped a lost woman on a busy street, never imagining that it would lead to such a profound connection. The woman reflected on her initial fear and uncertainty, realizing that the same chance encounter had brought her safety, trust, and love. They had discovered that true connection often arises from small, genuine acts of kindness and understanding. One evening, as they sat together on a quiet balcony overlooking the city, they spoke about the importance of gratitude in their lives. She expressed how thankful she was for his presence, support, and love. He shared how grateful he was for her trust, openness, and the joy she had brought into his life. In that moment, they both understood that their love was not just a product of chance but also a result of their willingness to be present, to care, and to nurture the bond they shared. Their relationship had become a source of inspiration and comfort for both of them. They faced life's challenges together, celebrated victories, and found joy in the ordinary moments that made their days special. The bond they had built was resilient, grounded in empathy, respect, and genuine affection. They realized that love often appears in unexpected ways, and that it flourishes when nurtured with patience, kindness, and understanding. As Part 5 concludes, the man and woman had discovered a love that neither had anticipated, but both now treasured deeply. Their journey from a chance encounter to a profound, lasting connection demonstrated the power of human kindness, empathy, and the willingness to be present for someone else. They had found not only companionship, but also a deep emotional bond that enriched their lives and provided a sense of purpose and fulfillment. The story ends with a sense of hope and possibility. They had learned that love could emerge in the most unexpected moments and that it often grows quietly through shared experiences, trust, and care. The man and woman, once strangers brought together by